us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling.
That
Adjust
can
your
only
watch,
mean
don't
one thing.
adjust your head. It is a Friday, I know, but we are opening up the airwaves for a culinary hotline. Bling! Why? Because we get so many questions around, obviously, our Friday, but around a potjie in particular. We put it out there that we're going to be dealing with potjies and dealing with Frick Oosthuizen, the king of the pot. You are the koning.
Yes, welcome,
Koning van potjiekos.
And Elle's been the most excited about this, with everyone. But I know it feels a bit weird doing our culinary hotline on a Friday.
No.
But we thought because it's the start of a weekend, because we have a legend in the house, and because so many of you clearly are needing to potjie this weekend, I don't know what it is about this time of the year, we thought this is where we'd start. So, and we've got a ton of really great questions, so thank you so much. The first thing is I've got to ask you, in my mind I thought this was a potjie. I didn't realize you could little mini potjies.
Different sizes.
And then whatever that is, can you even call that a potjie if it doesn't have the three legs? What are we dealing with in the potjie space?
So that flat one you would call a flat bottom pot, of in Afrikaans 'n platboom.
Platboom?
And that you would mostly use for baking or for
That
bread.
sounds derogatory when you say it. I can just imagine like an uncle calling someone else that. I don't know
Yes,
why,
a
man.
platboom.
So for the tradition, like we know of a potjie, how do you establish like what size pot you should be doing for what? How does that?
So if you look at something like this, number 3 pot, the 3-legged, I think that's about the one most people do have.
That's the icon, yeah.
You do have in the garage lying around. Now this oakie can fit about anything from 10 to 12 people, depending on your starch. If you have a starch on the side, let's say rice,
Okay.
you can fit about anything from 2 to 4 kgs of protein in that.
So like 10 to 12 people your size or 10 to 12 people my size?
8 people my size.
I punch above my weight class when it comes to potjie.
I just want to mention that the potjie numbers are on top of the lid. And that indicates, so this is a number 1 potjie, and that's a number 3.
cute.
And then you get like big ones.
Do you get
No,
a
you
0.5 potjie? Do you get even smaller
Like a
ones?
real small one, yes you do.
0.1.
If you're at home alone and you feel like a potjie, yes.
And the numbers, what are they specifically? Does it relate to a specific size or is it just the sequence of?
Yeah, so it starts obviously as number 1 and then that indicates the volume.
Okay, so it's not like 3
liters, yeah.
Yeah, so like, and number 2 will be like in between here, I think. Net Frick?
Yes, exactly.
Do I need to do anything with my pot before? Because to me, like a brand new potjie seems wrong. You want it to kind of have a bit of like,
It needs to
like
have
it's,
a dent and something.
it's a tour of duty or two. Do you need to treat a potjie pot before you cook in it?
So first off, when you go and buy a potjie, there's a few things you want to make sure it's got a proper fit.
Okay.
The lid itself.
So that it actually
It
seals
mustn't have any
there.
cracks or dents in it when you buy it.
You must go, when you lift it. You must
You must do a bit of a sound thing, yes.
feel it, yeah.
And then standard, it's just straight cast iron. So if you're going to start cooking with that, there's you call it like a potsmaak. You know, you kind of get a metal aftertaste, and that's usually when it hasn't been sealed properly. So to seal it properly, it's a process called polymerization.
Okay.
Where you use flaxseed oil,
Okay.
and that polymerizes with the iron. And then you create like a Teflon coating inside of the pot. So to do this, you can see this this pot of Nels needs a tad bit of love.
Oh,
So then we do what you would call seasoning.
Okay.
So it's not seasoning the food, you're going to season the pot.
Pot, that's
So you take like grove sout, gooi that in there, and then from here you want to get it straight onto the heat.
Okay.
On the fire,
On the fire.
yeah.
On the fire, or if you're at home, gooi it on the stove until it starts crackling.
Get it really hot, yeah.
Get really hot. Okay, then from there you're going to pour that salt out, obviously into a metal container, and then from there give it a nice wash.
Okay.
From there you dry it, get it straight on the fire, and you gooi some flaxseed oil, take a cotton dishcloth, wipe it out, and then you're going to bake it you can do anything from 7 up to 15 layers.
Wow. That's like crafting a Japanese sword or something, man. That is just, I can't tell you how excited this makes me about owning a pot and then conditioning your pot. That is awesome.
And then once you've done that, that will last you a lifetime.
Oh man, and you do. You want the flavor of each one to inform the flavor of the next one, so that you can literally you want to keep one of these pots through for generations. Okay, we're going to delve a little deeper into the lore around the potjie and our voorpot. We've called it a starter. I've been loving the look of those. We will be muscling up in just a moment. Wow.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling.
That can only
Post
mean
those
one
questions
thing.
on social media. It's a culinary hotline. Bling! I don't care that it's a Friday, it's a Friday. We've got frickin' Anel very busy here. We are talking about the humble potjie. It's a legend, actually. A legend of the braai, a legend within South Africa. And I'm learning the nuance around cooking with the potjie is amazing, but it doesn't have to all be the slow cook.
Yeah.
And now you promised us something really, a voorpot, we were calling it. A nice little starter.
Yeah, it's like a starter, but Frik calls it voorpot. So it's
Voorpot,
the
I
first
love
pot.
that.
Yeah. So I've got some onion and garlic in here. That's it. I'm going to add some wine to reduce it a bit. And then you just reduce it to about half.
Okay.
And then you
Cook
add...
off the alcohols.
But I don't have time for that.
No, you drink off the alcohol and
Yeah,
then you cook with the rest
it's
of it. It
Friday.
doesn't work like that, I promise
Fridays
you.
we leave it. We add the mussels
It
in
doesn't work like that.
and a bit of cream after that's cooked off.
What's the watchword with mussels? Is it really quick?
Mussels is
Super quick.
super
Boom,
quick.
boom.
Super quick.
If it's a half shell like that, because that's been
Already been
pre-frozen,
opened, yeah.
so that's very quick. And then you get the closed one, so you're going to steam that, and as soon as it opens,
Get it out of there.
It's ready,
Get it out of
yeah.
there. I mean, we once cooked them inside a seaweed pod in
excellent.
seawater that we had just taken out of the ocean. I mean, that's how fresh you can enjoy your mussels. And the fresher, the better. But it is quite nice when you're making something that's going to take you like 3 days, by the sounds of it, to make a really good potjie. After we've treated our pots and we've added the layers and the flavors. But you want something that you can kind of just like nibble on, maybe dip some bread in there. That's great. Let's start at the very beginning, the fire. Because you
Yes.
need something that's going to burn for a long time. What is the best wood, or how do you go about constructing a good potjie fire?
So personally, I use only wood.
Yeah.
But if you're still like a novice, still
wow.
feeling the things out,
Burn.
then you can go with briquettes or charcoal.
Okay.
Obviously, briquettes and charcoal works a lot better when you're baking, because then you can regulate the heat a lot
Sure.
better. But yeah, personally, fire, you get one fire, you make a nice fire on the side, and
Feeder,
then from there
yeah.
on, you just feed
Just
the
make it
potjie.
big, because that's part of the enjoyment of braaiing is being a pyro and making fire.
I just want to correct you. It's not braaiing. It's potjie.
Potjieing.
Potjieing.
It just rolls off the tongue. You make it sound so romantic.
The thing is, if you're going to sit like 3 or 5 hours around a potjie, because that's what it takes for a goeie potjie, make a huge fire and
No,
just feed
completely.
it slowly
And
and
it
feed the fire.
actually doesn't even need that much heat.
Really? 'Cause I suppose it's a
4
slow
to 5
cook, yeah.
coals. You literally just want it light simmer.
Just going there, and the fire becomes the heart of this whole activity, which
Exactly,
is awesome.
yeah.
So we've got our pots, we've treated it, we've flavoured it, we've flavoured our meat. But that is the big thing, the meat, yeah. So many debates raging about what the best thing to potjie is. Your instinct would say, obviously, you want a good knuckle, you want something that's got...
Yes, of course, that's got
fat
connective
around it.
tissue,
But
yes.
what is connective tissue? What are the best cuts?
So when you make a potjie, you want to stay away from things like a rump, fillet. Those expensive, anything from the hindquarters, those cuts is just going to dry. That's for the braai.
It's a waste of a good cut of meat.
It's
that
a
you
waste of
do
a good cut of
rare
meat.
and slice it up with mustard.
So
Yeah.
for the pot specifically, you want anything from the front quarter. So you're looking at short rib, you're looking at chuck, you're looking at brisket, looking at neck, you're looking at shins. A lot of interconnective tissue, tough cuts of meat. It's a slow process, 3 to 4 hours to get all that flavor in there.
And it's all about the flavor and how you
Yeah.
introduce those flavor notes and nuances, because it needs to be balanced. I know, like, we love our meat and we love the flavor, but the unsung hero of the potjie is probably going to be the vegetables and the stock and all of these other things that you add.
No, we just know.
So could you make a potjie with only meat?
Yes, you can.
You really could, just layers off. The layering is a big thing, and I think this is where kind of of the family history lesson comes in, because just about every person has a different way of approaching
everybody
it.
has
Everyone's got
their own way.
technique and their way. How would you, saying that there's no wrong or right way, but how would you, Frick, as the master, layer your potjie?
So personally, I'd start off with vegetables that actually makes sense.
Okay.
You know, I won't go to a local supermarket and I'll just go and buy one of those mixed vegetable packs. That annoys me. You know, you want to make something that makes sense.
Cool.
So let's say if we're making a French cassoulet, or even just a straight short rib pot, you want things that's going to go with the meat. That's going to, you know, help with that meat flavor carrying through. That's going to
continuity
just give
right
it
the way through. Okay.
So first off, you'd season your meat. Salt and pepper, get that in the pot, give that a nice brown. You take that out, then you start with the onions and garlic. That's the base.
Okay.
And then the trick here is to season in stages. That's the trick here.
That's the key thing here. So don't just go and throw everything all in.
When you and constantly taste the food. So then once that's done, we get the meat back in, and then we're going to deglaze with either white or red wine, any one of those. You're going to add some liquid to that.
Stop.
Okay.
This is a bit of a
That's
stop.
Anel,
Which you made from scratch.
Made some
Absolutely
nice
from scratch.
homemade
Yeah.
Chicken bones, water, bay leaves, thyme.
all of those aromatics you want
Yes.
to add now once you've added the liquid. And then from there on, we're going to start with our vegetables. So obviously your carrots, your potatoes and your mealies, that's going to take a bit longer. So once the meat's about 3/4 of the way there, you want to start adding this. And the mistake that most people make is they add a lot of water. So vegetables already have
They're gonna produce a lot of
their
moisture,
own waters.
sure.
They're also going to produce moisture, and that's when you get that lung sauce. You know, when somebody dishes you a pot up and it's
Yeah,
just
you get
water
that.
everywhere. So that's what happens then. So you actually almost don't want to add water here.
And what I love is you've got the most flavorful part of the mix here, kind of pushing all those flavors throughout.
Exactly.
And that also steams it. It also steams
Yes.
it, especially when the pot is closed.
Once
so
it's closed, it's a whole vibe going on inside.
It's just, it's magic. Okay, we're going to have to take a momentary break as we put our courgettes.
Yeah, this is
in
your
the last,
softer veggies you put lastly onto your pot, and then you close it.
And then time dissolve 3 to 5 hours later. Then we'll
Yes.
enjoy that. Now, you can let us know on our social media platforms, how do you enjoy a potjie? How do you stack your potjie and snack on your potjie after you've stacked your potjie? Maybe you've got a family secret that'll inform us. Hit us up on our Expresso Morning Show Facebook page.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling.
That can
Yeah,
only
don't
mean
adjust
one
your
thing.
sets. It is the Culinary Hotline. Bling! Zing, zing, zing! Does it feel real now?
Yeah, it's kind of setting now.
Takes a while for you to
First
get
timers.
into that space, and I was an old pro. Guys, I turned my back for a second, and now we've suddenly become a patissier.
Yeah.
We've loved the fact that you can do a starter. We love the fact that we've got our beautiful slug. This is actually, I'm imagining, on a braai. I think we had some short rib in there or something like
So
that.
good.
Beautiful cut of meat. We now know the pot, we know the meat, we know the voerpot. Is there a na-pot?
Yes.
Can we get into a dessert?
It's a bit of a sweet tooth.
I think any baked dessert like malva pudding or apple tart or bread pudding work very well in it. So last night I just made my mom's apple tart filling, and it's so easy because it's only a tin of apples, a tinned apple,
Okay.
with some raisins, cinnamon, and sugar. That's it.
That's
and you
it.
just boil it
Amazing.
up. And this will be beautiful if you put it in the pot. En dat 'n bietjie van Frick se deeg gesteel. And you can just do this, grate some of the dough over it.
Oh, wow.
And put your pot se deksel op.
Sit jy
Ja,
pot se deksel.
kry 'n deksel vir jou pot and put it on the fire. And there you've got a beautiful, easy dessert.
That's like the easiest apple
quick,
pie
huh?
ever in the world. That's it. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, boom, boom.
So now this is a bit of a different one.
Okay.
So it's a pecan pie.
Ooh.
So obviously, if you check here in front, that's the finished product. I'm just going to quickly show you how to do the whole
No, but
vibe.
it's spectacular. And this is like hot cuisine in a rustic kind of vibe. I love the fact that there is...
He's a very well-known qualified chef, so please
He's
know.
actually bona fide,
Right.
okay? He's not just tall and amazing around the fire.
And handsome.
And handsome. I know. I was wondering why there was
according to Arnold.
a vibe. There is something about the flavor profile that goes with cooking in a pot like this on a fire, and there's like the caramelization, the nuttiness, the smokiness.
Yes.
I'm picking up a vibe. There is a vibe, and you want that through your beautiful mussels, through your beautiful potjie, through to your dessert to feel like it's been cooked in this it's really is such a unique way. So I love it. And the keyword here, if you want to cook along with us, is dessert to 33728, and we'll send you the ingredients and stuff.
Ja,
Okay, so
en
how do we
dit
get
is 'n
started?
That's a pecan pie dessert, hey? So Frik, eerste is it this? You must tell
Ja,
me.
kom ons begin by hierdie baby.
Okay.
You call it a baby because it's been lovingly
Yes.
tended
So
and created.
This is just a standard pat brise short crust pastry.
Speak Afrikaans, English, please. Not what does breed say? Really? Your fancy French words.
So then we want to get that into the pot.
Okay. Can I push it down?
Jy kan vir ons gooi. Thanks Arnold. Doen jy daai vir ons?
Yes.
Lekker. En dan volgende gaan
And
ons
obviously you want to try and create as much of a base as
Yeah.
possible here.
Yes, exactly.
This kind
So
of
then-
pastry necessary? Do you have to have a different kind of pastry working out of the potjie? Is
So
the thickness an issue?
yes, so anyway, you want to get that.
Fast.
See there, get that nice in there. Just press it up against the corners.
Okay.
There we
Can
go.
you lift that up for camera one more time just so
Yes.
people can see?
Yeah.
Let's just get that nice in
He's
there.
like a perfectionist.
Excuse me now.
What's wrong with that? Yeah.
Okay, Frik, dit is nou genoeg nou, man.
Okay, that's fine. So
You can write your name in there if you want
what
to
about,
say.
what about 0.5 mils?
Okay.
All right, that's what you want the thickness of the dough to be.
Okay.
And then from there on, we're going to start with the filling. So just need.
Okay.
Obviously, this is going to be cooking in the oven for an hour.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Kan ons die eiers by sit?
Yes, wanneer daai uitjies gesmelt het, dit is 'n pan.
Give me a pan. I'm
So,
going to melt that for you.
there we
Okay,
go.
I'll melt that while you carry
Gooi
on.
vir ons daarso.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is some sugar, vanilla, and obviously whiskey. Not for drinking.
Obviously whiskey, obviously. That's quite exciting.
Yeah, so let's start.
Ek is verkoop met die whiskey. I'm going to do this. I want to eat
It
this.
was a double before we started it.
See, the Americans use bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give it does it give that
today-
smoky flavor, isn't
Yeah,
it?
today we're going with some whiskey.
Okay.
Is this something that traditionally goes into a pecan pie or pecan
Can I
nut dessert?
pour this in? Pas op jou
And
hande.
obviously not too
So let's get the butter
hard
in
so you
there.
don't get
Excellent.
scrambled eggs.
Okay. Now, this is okay. So it's super rich. This is like
Yeah, I mean, not
Lots of
play around.
syrup.
straight golden
around.
syrup.
This is you one of those that you can eat in stages. We've been cooking in stages. This you can eat
This
as
you
you
eat
have
in
a bite.
stages.
And can you use maple syrup as well? That will
course.
also add a
That'll
nice
most
flavor.
definitely add
I
some
love it.
extra
Okay,
fizz.
so we've got about 30 seconds
Get
to
our-
wrap this guy up.
in
Vanilla.
there, and then the nuts.
And then, don't we put the nuts in here?
Put the neute daaraan, and then I'll cover it with this.
Then we're going to cover
Neatly,
that.
please.
Excellent.
Neatly.
Yes.
Yes, get it nice and even in there.
I'm going to get points out of 10.
Wow.
Oh, this looks
Right.
yummy. I must show this to the camera. I hope they can see it. It's
Oh,
just
see,
like...
now the problem is I just want to be eating that with a
Can you
spoon
see that? Like gooey.
right there. So now, guys, this is kind of swelled quite a lot there. Will this
Yeah.
kind of puff
So
out
yes,
a
it
little bit?
puffs out a little bit, yeah.
Oh. My mouth is actually watering
I wanna
so
dive
much
in
now.
here.
Oh, that's like heaven.
let's
So the
dive into
keyword
this
here
one.
is dessert to 33728. We'll send you the ingredients list for this beautiful look at that pecan nut pie, which we've made al rustica. This one is very neat, so I'm guessing Anel didn't have a.
haven't handled that one.
You guys are superstars. Thank you so much. Anel, give me some thank you, love.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling.
I know it's weird. I know it's weird to have a culinary hotline bling. Ding, ding, ding. There we go. On a Friday, but it's been absolutely awesome. Frick, you're a genius, dude. I can understand why Anel was so excited about having you here. We have spread the love of potjie in a whole new way. I've got to ask, because we've kind of created everything from scratch. How do you feel about like sauces, pre-made sauces in a packet, or something
Love
that you
it.
can buy? Do you? Really?
I'm messing with you. I absolutely despise it. I don't think it belongs in a pot.
Exactly.
The meat has enough of its natural flavor. You can use spices, herbs. There's so many other elements that you can use instead of using cooking sauces or any packet soup powders. I really don't like this.
Yeah, save it for like that one night of the week where you've only got 15 minutes to cook a meal, then you
If
can
you-
use
if you
your,
need to,
your,
yes.
your pre-made sauce.
I'm going to hide all my bruin eiers soppoeier.
If you prepare your own sauces in advance and freeze them, maybe then you can use your
Excellent.
stocks and things like that. I've got to ask, seeing as we've taken so much care with the pot itself and preparing it for the meal,
Yes.
how do we look after our potjie pots? After we've cooked with them, do you just leave the food in there until the next time? Do we need to oil our pots?
Preferably not. So yes, once you've seasoned it, done the layers like we spoke about earlier, and once you've finished cooking, give it a good wash. Hot soap water, give it a good wash, and you can either return it back to the fire just to make sure it gets nice and dry it completely, lid on, put it in the cupboard.
Frick, what about the newspaper? Because I stop mine with newspaper and then sometimes I put oil at the bottom and then it stinks. And that's probably wrong.
Doesn't help.
You might have answered your own question there. I have a feeling.
Once that layer is there, it's like a proper Teflon coating.
Okay.
It won't rust. Nothing will happen to it.
I absolutely love it. Any final tips for now? Because we've created this void in people's lives because they don't have a potjie on the braai as we speak. Any final tips for the wannabe potjie makers out there?
Yes, most definitely. I'd say don't try to overcomplicate something. I mean, if you're making a short rib pot, stick to vegetables that make sense within the pot. Stick to basic flavorings. Stick to herbs that works with the meat. Try and source as best possible meat you possibly can afford, and then stick to front quarter cuts for the pot. When you do, on the odd chance, make a chicken pot, don't cook it for 4 hours. The chicken is quick. You're going to end up with something that looks like a landmine hit it.
More of a soup.
And then most importantly is to season in stages.
I love the seasoning in stages. So, Nell, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I want to say don't stir the pot while it's cooking. Dus ek weet nie hoekom hakkelik nou stir nie. Ek het 'n houtlepel man. But don't stir it. And if you stir it, what I do, I just give it like a lift type
Just
of thing. If you like,
To check if the bottom's not catching.
exactly. So don't go and like.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't
Yeah.
need it. And just be patient. I'm going to say the thing I find the most difficult is just be patient. You will get your rewards at the end of however many hours. But get yourself a couple of varying pots and push the boat out. Do a nice starter, a voerpot, do a napot.
Yes.
Like this, we've given you a roadmap for creating like a whole weekend's worth of food on a few coals on your braai, as long as you've got your potjie and it's been lovingly taken care of. Guys, this has been a journey of exploration. Buddy. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I've loved it. You can share your potjie dreams, those memories over the weekend, because I want you to potjie this weekend. Please post some of those pics. Maybe you've got a couple of tips, some family secrets that you can share with us. We'd love to see them on our Expresso Morning Show Facebook page.
Awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I might actually have to have another little taste.